So moving on to our next story, this one is going to get a little bit political, but not political in the way that you're thinking. We're actually talking about some TPP copyright stuff in Japan, how that affects some Japanese stuff that we may or may not consume, and the interesting way that it doesn't affect the US in the way that you would normally think. So the TPP, there was a lot of stuff going into the Trans-Pacific Partnership. We're not going to get into anything else that doesn't involve copyright infringement and copyright laws because, again, that's not relevant to what we're talking about right now. So the TPP's revised copyright laws, and we're reading this from the article here, came into effect in Japan on December 31st. Now, the laws have also been changed to allow copyright breaches to be prosecuted without a complaint from the rights holder. That's very important because previously the rights holder would have been required to file the copyright breach before legal action could be taken. The revision was made as part of an ongoing effort to combat piracy. But the thing is, though, is I'm not saying that piracy isn't piracy if the original copyright holder can't find it, right? It technically still is piracy, yes. But it does kind of come off like that tree in the forest thing, where it's like if a tree falls in the forest and you don't hear it, you know, like it comes off as one of those situations because, like, Tristan, why should a government be allowed to go after something if it's piracy? If even the original company is just like, nah, we're fine with this. This is fan art.
Right. Yeah.
Like, if they consider something fan art, why should a government be allowed to go in if the original party, like, this isn't like an assault or something like that, where, like, even if the original party is like, oh, I don't want to press charges, it's like, yeah, but that was assault. We want to get this person off the streets.
Right.
Right? This isn't one of those cases. This is copyright infringement, which is still illegal. Let's be real, still illegal. You know, you can talk about gray areas if you want to, but it is still illegal. But that should not mean that the government should, in my opinion, should go after you if the infringed party doesn't even want to go after you.
Right.
Anyway, though, let me keep going here because the law revisions also include an extension of copyright duration from 50 years to 70 years after the death of the rights holder for all works, a duration which previously only applied to cinematic works. These measures were taken to bring Japan in line with other countries participating in the TTP, or in the TPP. So here's something interesting, funnily enough. The US government was going to be a part of the TPP. So this was going to affect us, and in the way that it could affect us, and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to fearmonger here, but I just have to, you know, mention some worst case scenarios. If we were using a picture of One Piece while talking about One Piece, we don't have the rights to use that picture.
Right.
So that's technically copyright infringement. Yes, we can talk about fair use, but remember, fair use can only be applied when you are in a court of law actually defending yourself. But it would mean that even if Oda and even if Viz were like, that's just a picture in a podcast, who cares about what these two dudes are talking about? The US government could be like, we care.
They used a picture in a podcast
to
bring down the full weight of the law.
But it could actually prove as problematic. And in this case, we actually see how it proves as problematic in Japan. Because, looking at Nejima and UK holder manga artist Ken Akamatsu, he assured Doujinshi fans, or Doujinshi creators, sorry, on Twitter that this won't affect how Comiket operates. And by the way, if you don't know what Doujinshi are, some of them are adult, but not all of them have to be adult, actually. They really just are fan products that are drawn by fans, not even necessarily in the style of the original creator. That's actually kind of frowned upon because you don't want to make it seem like it is the official creator's work. It actually, you want to put your own style on it. And again, yes, some of them are adult, but not all of them are adult. So some of them are just vanilla, you know, fluffy. Some of them are romantic. Some of them are actually just, you know, not so romantic. Again, they can all just be like, well, can I say like fluffy vanilla? Like, you know, like there's some stuff that's really hardcore. Like, there's some stuff that you're like, whoa. And then people assume that all of that is Doujinshi. And it's like, no, not all of that. I mean, yes, all of that is under Doujinshi, but that's not all that Doujinshi is.
Right.
And there's actually a comic convention called Comiket, where you actually are kind of allowed, like it's actually encouraged for you to sell doujinshi there. Because again, it's just artists who are young, who are doing doujinshi in their spare time, kind of just collaborating, like kind of like a network of getting to know people. And some people I think have been hired, not through Comiket directly, but they've been discovered through Comiket, I believe. I can't think of any artists off the top of my head. But either way though, again, manga artist Ken Akamatsu said that the doujinshi at Comiket are exempt due to a compromise worked out between the government and those involved. For doujin creators to be charged, the right holders will still need to file a complaint first, so you can keep doing what you do. But then, of course, in parentheses, he says, but if the rights holders say that it's not okay, then it's not okay.
Right.
Now, the reason why I find this funny is, could you imagine, like, there's just, like, all these countries are coming together, and they're just like, this is what this has to be about. And they're talking about, like, the other political stuff that's in TPP that we're not talking about and all that stuff. And Japan was like, but we would like people, when they draw stuff about the two characters in the manga, fucking, we want to make sure that that's allowed and that our government will not go after it. And someone has to be like, sure, I guess? I think? Okay? Like, literally, like, a representative from Japan had to be like, we need to save the people that draw the fucking. Like, that's, like, had to be, like, addressed properly. That had to be properly addressed.
And by properly addressed, I really don't think that they described it as the people fucking.
I'm hoping that the
sorry, people who draw the people fucking.
Thank you. We have to be specific here. No, here's the thing, Tristan. I'm hoping that the representative from Japan said it in Japanese, and the translator said in his head, "Are you fucking?" or their head, "Are you fucking serious?" and then had to say it politely in other languages. I hope. I know that did not happen. I know that didn't happen. But I'm gonna draw a doujinshi where it did.
Like whispering to them, it's like, Nani?
Yeah. It's just like having to just. Is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. Anyway, he said but anyway, so yeah, so although here's what's interesting. And I don't think this is the worst case scenario that could happen here, because again, I do think that getting rid of the doujinshi could be a worst case scenario situation. But what is interesting is, so Akamatsu keeps on going on to say that he clarified what kinds of Gridman fan works are allowed to be sold after doujinshi retailer Melon Books pulled Gridman works from their stock. And he ends up saying it's okay to distribute them at Comiket, but they can't be sold at doujinshi stores. So they can tolerate fan activity as long as it's restricted to a few days, i.e. Comiket, but they believe that unrestricted sales through stores is a cause for bother. You must follow these guidelines. In fact, in quotes, in parentheses, it says, in fact, the doujin mark follows this format too. So I find this very interesting because it sucks, because I want to sit back and be like, oh my god, jobs are lost if people have doujinshi stores, or if there are like places that sell them. I do want to feel like, I feel bad because jobs are lost, but that's like a different level of piracy though. Like if you're just selling like comic books that are derivatives of other people's work in your grocery store, or like in a doujinshi store exclusively just for doujinshi, like that's a bit different than like selling like fan art at a con, you know? Yeah. So my only problem is, to be fair, I don't know how the doujinshi stores work, and I don't know how the artists work and how they get the works in the stores. But I do wonder if, like, now that it's only exclusive to Comiket, if that means that artists cannot express themselves because you have to pay to be a vendor there, most likely. So I wonder if that hinders people, and that only means that popular people or people who have money can actually express themselves through doujinshi now. Like, I honestly don't know if that's a domino effect, but I don't know. I think you agree with me here, though, Tristan. Like, selling them in stores, I'm shocked that was even allowed up to this point.
Yeah.
Like, having third-party shops that could sell, like, Vegeta and Goku talking in doujinshi format. They're talking. A lot of screaming about pride. It just seems like an episode of Dragon Ball Z, Tristan. Just screaming about pride. Anywho, you okay there, buddy? You okay there, bud? No.
Just keep talking.
Before we wrap things up, I want to ask you this. Are you happy that we're not a part of the TPP? Because again, like, this could like end up affecting us in the sense that we use things in our podcast and in our reviews and like in video reviews that could potentially be considered illegal. And again, the government could go after us, not even the rights holder. So like, does that make you happy? Or are you like, would the government really find us? Like, I actually want to hear your take on it.
I mean, I guess I'm a little bit of both, but I'm also like the government comes after everyone eventually anyway, Matt. So
yeah, but like for things they've already put into place, it's not new things, you know?
Yeah.
So you're saying that it does make you happy that we're not in the TPP?
Sure.
Okay, good, because that's Trump's reason. Like, Trump did that. Trump is the reason why we're not in the TPP. So could you thank Donald Trump? Could you look at the camera? Could you thank...
Matt, I swear to God.
I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much, Tristan. You're one of my best friends. You're one of my best friends. You're going to hurt me live. I want to hear what you guys... You're going to hurt me. I want to hear, though, all jokes aside, as we're wrapping this part up, I want to hear what you guys think below.
You don't have to be physical either. Like, it just hurt you emotionally.
You could hurt me emotionally. Maybe you could... Easily. Yes, you could, but you have to work on the mic because it's hard to hear you. You're cutting in and out. So you have to hurt me while actually, like, you're just staring at me. All right. I want to hear what you guys have to say down below. Are you happy we're not in the TPP? Are you unhappy that we're not in the TPP? Are you happy that we are not under these same restrictions that Japan and a lot of other countries are under? Because it worries me. You know, it would worry me if we were under these same restrictions. So I would love to hear what you guys have to say down below.